Good evening. Welcome to the August 11th, 2020 open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. We have a quorum. To the rest of the members, Nathan King contacted me earlier today. Work is keeping him late tonight. He will join us if he can, but he's not sure he'll be able to make it. With that, our first order of business is to approve the agenda. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go. All in favor? Aye.
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 First on our agenda, and I'm actually going to ask that we treat the next three items, the first three items on our agenda at the same time. Reason being is the proponent for the special permit for 14 Washington Street, the site plan review for 14 Washington Street, and the amended site plan review for Ayer Solar 2B sent an email earlier today asking to be moved until the next meeting. Mr. Archambault, do you have a copy of that email that you could read for us, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
This is from Kyle Burchard of GPR to the Planning Board. Good afternoon. After the last Planning Board hearing, it was suggested below that various applications be continued to the August 25th, 2020 public hearing. Due to various circumstances, that was an astute suggestion. And I am requesting on behalf of my clients that the following applications be continued from tonight's Air Planning Board meeting to the August 25th, 2020 Air Planning Board public hearing. Special permit for 14 Washington Street, site plan review, 14 Washington Street, and the amended site plan for Ayer Solar 2B. I am pleased to report that all of these are in their final phase of engineering review and will be sent on their way for final review this week, leading to what could be a very productive hearing on August 25th. Please accept this email as a letter granting extensions to the Air Planning Board for required action up to and including the date of August 25th, 2020. I hope that this notice reaches all in good health and good spirits. Have a good night. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you very much, Mark. I noticed in the first sentence he used the word astute suggestion. And I know you responded to Kyle already, but I'll tell him right now, he can butter us up all he wants. We'll take it up at the next meeting and we will do our best with it. So that gets us through the first three items on our agenda. Next on the agenda.
We don't need a motion to move it to the next meeting. That's okay?
Yes, yeah, there should be a motion.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Want them individually?
Separate too.
Yeah, I'm gonna call timeout for a minute. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I am very sorry, and I am probably the person who is the biggest offender here. And I want to thank Member Murray for sending the email after the last meeting. Zoom meetings are hard for me. I am very tactile. I like to be in the room with people. I like to read their faces, read their body language. When I'm sitting here in my office, I'm looking down. And my goal is to keep moving forward. My pace is horrible. When you put me in a room with a similar personality like we had last time in a virtual room, it is impossible to slow down the train. Julie, you sent out a great email. I want to acknowledge that. I did speak with Mark Archambault about it briefly. I know Ken and I have discussed it. I don't believe, Jonathan, we discussed it. But I do want the members to jump in and tell me if I get going too fast and I jump over things. And I apologize. And I will try to hold the meetings to a less frenetic pace going forward. Is that fair?
Yes, but can I also address the second part to that?
Yes, please
concern?
do.
So Zoom etiquette works out really well with Robert's rules, and I still can't believe I'm saying that, Jeff, but luckily you gave me the book, and it's not our town manager's rules, as I've now learned. So yes, you're not able to read the room and chair a meeting the way you prefer and would like and can. But us as board members, I think, have it on us to also be thinking through when we have a question, directing it to someone specific. And I think that will help all of us and applicants and other people attending our meetings to understand who we are asking, and that it's not a general question to the whole floor, or it might be, but it's through the chair first, so we can all have a little breathing space, and we can also not let an applicant take over our entire meeting. And again, it may have been well intended because the question was out there, and then some applicants have a lot of knowledge they like to share. But I would hope that as a board, we can direct our questions to each other so we can continue to bounce ideas off or to Mark and Heather as needed. So it's not just on you, Jeff, as well. It's also on us to make sure we're directing our questions to whom we think are best suited to start that conversation with.
Thank you. Thank you. Other
And
comments?
if I could just make one suggestion, if we could keep to the agenda as a line item, just it makes jumping around makes the minutes awfully hard to write.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and I apologize for that. It was sitting, your email to me, Julie, was sitting underneath my copy of the agenda. I just jumped past it.
Sorry, Heather.
Okay. So, okay. A motion to continue, please. The items for 14 Washington and Ayer Solar 2.
We need to do them each separately, please.
Yep.
Okay, Jeff, if you will allow me, please.
Please do.
I make a motion for continued public hearing, 14 Washington Street special permit.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
I make a motion for continued site plan review for 14 Washington Street through August 25th, our next meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you.
And I make a motion for the continued review of the amended site plan for Ayer Solar 2B to August 25th.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Diskin. And that brings us to the public hearing, stormwater regulations. We need a motion to open the hearing, please.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
do we need to read the public notice into the record?
Yes, I believe we do. Jonathan, do you have a copy of the rec? Yes.
I do. Would you like to proceed with the vote before I read the public notice into the record, or should I read the public notice first?
Let's see. Let's vote. Let's have fun. All in favor of doing the public hearing?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Please, Mr. Krantz.
Public hearing notice for the Planning Board Stormwater Management Regulations. Pursuant to the Massachusetts General Laws Chapter 81B and the Massachusetts Clean Waters Act, Mass General Law Chapter 21, Sections 21 through 53, the Ayer Planning Board will hold a public hearing at 6:15 p.m. on Tuesday, August 11th, 2020, in the Selectmen's Meeting Room at the Ayer Town Hall to adopt new stormwater management regulations, stormwater standard operating procedures, and a stormwater management permit application form. These regulations are in support of the town's obligations under the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NIPD's Phase 2 Stormwater Program, and pursuant to Town Bylaw Article 47, NIPD's Phase 2 Stormwater Bylaw. These stormwater regulations address standards for the review of minor and major projects, designate a stormwater agent, provide submittal requirements for minor and major applications, standards for operation and maintenance plans, and provisions for inspections and the issuance of permits and other details related to the administration of the regulations. A copy of the proposed stormwater management regulations and related forms can be mailed or emailed by contacting the Planning Board office at 978-772-8218 or by emailing hhampson@ayer.mass.us. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed regulations is advised to call or email the Planning Board office by August 10th, 2020, or are free to call into the meeting that will be live streamed on APAC There will be a phone number provided on the screen during the meeting. Signed, Jeff Tillison, Chairman, Air Planning Board.
Thank you, Jonathan. I write such a great. Thank you very much. Okay. I think, Dan, this puts you on the spot, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, how's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Well, thank you, Dan.
Excellent. Yeah, so I put together a really quick 5-slide presentation just on the background of the stormwater bylaw, kind of where we're at. So I'll try to share my screen so I can share that with you. And then after that, I was thinking we could get into the application and the regulations. Let's see.
Please do.
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if that's me or Cindy who has to take care of it.
Cindy, are you there?
I'm here.
Can I'd like to share my screen. Can I?
You should be able to share your screen, Dan.
Okay. It says host disabled participant screen sharing when I try.
Well, let me give you special permission.
Yeah, I can't even share mine, Dan. So, you know. Cindy likes to be in charge, and I like it that way.
Here we go.
Hey, we don't need any extra screen sharing.
Yeah, no, we've had that. We're done with that.
Yeah, we're so done with that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, can everyone see my screen now? This is my first time doing
Yes.
it. Okay.
Yep, it's beautiful.
Well, all right. So just kind of quickly, proposed stormwater regulations, the presentation I put together August 2020. Slide number 2. So background, stormwater bylaw, EPA, Mass DEP, they administer the MS4 permit, which requires the establishment of the stormwater bylaw, which we currently have. The original MS4 permit that we had, the first permit for small MS4 permit holders, became effective in 2003, and we needed to institute the bylaw by 2008, which we did. So we have this current NIPD's Phase 2 stormwater bylaw from 2008, and it hasn't changed since then. The bylaw allows for stormwater regulations pursuant to the bylaw, and those are to implement the bylaw. And those were never adopted as far as we can tell in any records. I did find an old draft version that the previous superintendent put together, but there was never an adoption. So current bylaw status. So we have the 2008 bylaw in place. The new MS4 permit, which DEP and EPA, they revised it in 2016. It requires revisions to the current bylaw by the end of this fiscal year, so by July 1 next year. And some of those revisions are going to be more stringent water quality requirements than the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook. And kind of on a side note, Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook is going to catch up to speed with the MS4 permit and match the requirements in it. But we'll obviously want to cover that in our bylaw as well. The water quality volume for impervious area, we'll have to have BMPs that retain the 1 inch, as opposed to right now they're allowed to have a 1/2 inch. And there'll be higher TSS, higher phosphorus removals. Those are just some examples of some of the requirements in our current MS4 permit. So that will be
Through the chair to Dan,
yeah.
please. Question. I don't understand the water volume, water quality volume, the 1/2 inch versus 1 inch. I'm having trouble picturing it. What do we, inch of water where? What are we talking about?
So you calculate, so on an impervious area within the area that you're controlling, you calculate 1/2 inch of water volume over that impervious area, and you have to retain or treat that. And now the new regulation is up to a full inch, so basically double the amount of volume will be the minimum requirement.
Okay. All right, I understand it now. Thank you.
Yeah. So next slide. So current schedule. The existing bylaw is currently under review. Arcadis Consultants, they actually reviewed it as part of our MVP, Municipal Vulnerability Planning, just from a vulnerability perspective. and they're currently reviewing it as part of Central Mass Regional Stormwater Coalition review, which the town of Ayer is a part of that coalition. It's basically 30 towns that work together to knowledge share and meet our permit requirements. And then, like I said, the revisions to the bylaw need to be implemented in FY 2021, so by July 1 of next year. And, you know, the reason I brought these regulations to us now for the existing bylaw is we need them to implement the bylaw. And then there are some parts of it that are fulfilling some MS4 permit requirements, such as built drawing requirements and our ability to inspect and enforce erosion control measures on sites. So I anticipate the revised bylaw won't change a lot, but it'll kind of have more stringent requirements is what I'm picturing now. But you know, we're going to get into that in the next month or so once we get the review back from Arcadis. So that's kind of a background of where we're at and why I brought the stormwater regulations here tonight. Are there any more questions, or do you want to get into looking at the regulations?
I'm happy to move right into the regulations. I do have a quick question, actually 2 quick questions that came to mind. And
Okay.
you may be touching on these during the presentation. If so, just let me know. The first one is, what are the steps to bringing it? It is a bylaw. I'm assuming it has to go to town meeting.
Correct. It'll have to go to town meeting for approval.
Okay.
So we were hoping to get it to fall town meeting, but
Thank you.
yeah, that's the goal, but still haven't got anything back from Arcadis on their review of the bylaw, but yes, it'll have to go through town meeting.
I got a,
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please, Mr. Diskin.
for clarification, Dan, the bylaw has to go to town meeting when we revise the bylaw, but was you asking a question whether the regulations had to go to town meeting, Mr. Chair? We know the bylaw has to go, but my question, I guess, for clarification is, these regulations that we're approving, do they have to go to town meeting? I didn't think they did.
If I may answer that, I wasn't thinking about it at that level of granularity, Ken. What I was thinking about was we need to push it over the goal line, which is the town meeting. And we've got a fall town meeting and a spring town meeting between now and July 1 of 2021. And I was just asking the question to make sure that we had it on our radar that we needed to get this through to a town meeting. That was my question. I do not believe the regulations. I believe we accept them and they become incorporated into the bylaw, which is then accepted or not accepted by the town meeting, if I'm not mistaken. Does that answer your question?
I think I'm looking for clarification from Dan. I believe that the
Okay.
regulations we're trying to work on tonight are part of our obligation previous. So these can become approved and be part of our current NIPD's bylaw, phase 2 bylaw. Then later on, when revisions come, we need to approve the changes to the current NIPD's bylaw for it to be compliant with whatever comes next.
That's correct. Right. That's correct, Ken. So yeah, you adopt them today and then they're, you know, applicable to the current bylaw. Then when we come with the new bylaw, we'll have to look at them again and make changes and do this all again, kind of.
The reason I'm bringing that up for the timing, Mr. Chair, is that if in fact we have this is my question for Dan and for the board, I guess. We have approved subdivisions in place now.
Mm-hmm.
Those approved subdivisions are going to have a requirement to comply with our NIPD's, but they're also going to need to comply with these new regulations that we put in place tonight.
Are
Right.
we going to be voting on the regulations this evening? Dan, if I may ask. I read this as you still got it out to Arcadis, so are you ready to present this as something you want us to act on this evening?
Right. You know, this is something I wanted you to act on tonight. These are related to the 2008 bylaw, so it doesn't deal with what Arcadis is looking at now. So this is This is
Okay.
something we want to get through now, so we have our regulations in place.
Okay. So when any action we take then, Ken, I think to answer your question, and I misunderstood your question, is if we enact the regulations this evening, they fall under the umbrella of the current stormwater bylaw we're working with, correct?
Yes. That's
Thank
my
you.
question.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, my question was, what do we need to do to get it through town, to get a new bylaw? And that has to go to town meeting. And that's something we'll have to take care of in the future.
Right.
Thank you. Okay. I have a question for you, just out of general. I'm sorry, and maybe again, this may be handled. Who is responsible for tracking stormwater work in town? Projects and compliance, preventive maintenance that's in place. Who does that now?
Well, that's what the regulations describe,
Yeah.
the stormwater agent and who is, who can enforce the bylaw. And it's primarily going to be the DPW when we get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
May I follow up on the chair's comment?
Please do.
And this is directed to Dan and to Mark Wetzel. If you look on page 10, where it says section B, stormwater management easements, and I believe this is under section 10, operations and maintenance, subsection B, page 10. There's a paragraph, stormwater management easements, number 1. Unless waived by the authority, stormwater management easements shall be granted to the town of Ayer and be sufficient location and extent to allow the town to access the property and all areas used for off-site stormwater control in order to facilitate inspections and allow the town the right to perform required maintenance. And there is a note here, and I don't know, I think it's your note, Dan, and it's to Mark, and the question is, do we want the town to be responsible for this maintenance? And I guess, yes, I want to pose that question to the group. Do we have to come to some understanding of responsibility before we approve this, or how does that fit into this larger picture?
Yeah, right. And so you're correct. That was Mark's comment, because the way it's written is the town would have an easement to take care of the stormwater at, whatever location it is. And I think we probably want to reword that, because we'll have a lot of properties conducting their own maintenance, and we'll basically be stewards of making sure that they're conducting the maintenance. So
Okay.
I didn't reword it before the meeting tonight, but I included Mark's comment there so we could discuss what.
Yeah, this is Mark. Right now, we kind of have a hybrid. We have some basins and structures that are not within the town right of way, that are in easements that we are responsible for maintaining. And then there are others that the homeowners association is responsible for maintaining. And I think that's one of the things we need to clarify at some point in future regulations is how do we want to do that? And I can't remember what we actually put in these regulations, but what I've been pushing for is if it's an HOA, that they have a schedule and they have then they have to submit annual reports. But we could eventually have the option of the town actually doing the maintenance and the HOA paying the town to do it. And then we know it gets done right.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of these basins, and some of them that are the town's responsibility that don't get maintained. And then we have others that are an HOA that's responsible, and they don't get maintained until we have some hammer to hold over their head.
Yeah, I apologize, Dan. I didn't mean to hijack your presentation. I do appreciate Mark Wetzel. I do appreciate your description of this, but I guess given my fascination with stormwater, which you guys know I kind of have, I've just been curious about, I don't want to characterize this coming late to the party, because I think the town's you guys are doing a good job, and when entities are made aware of the work they have to get done, it is probably getting done. So I was just curious. is there a person sitting in a seat right now in the town of Ayer, or the town of Ayer's employee, who oversees this, or do we have have a cobbled together solution? And if that's the way it is, what help do you all need to get that taken care of?
Mr.
And
Chair.
if you don't have an answer for that question now, that's fine. We can do it
So
offline.
I do have sort of an answer.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that Dan and I have talked about, and we've talked with the town manager about, is revisiting forming the stormwater utility. As you know, the town meeting voted a stormwater enterprise fund / utility. We spent a lot of time and effort to come up with a way to implement that, and unfortunately, selectmen voted against implementing it. So we're back to square one. But I think that given the emphasis on stormwater, the NIPD's permit requirements that we have, and the cost that we're seeing to maintain just our piping infrastructure, that it's something we need to revisit. And if that's the case, then we'll have a revenue stream, and then we can actually have a better formal process of managing all the systems.
Okay.
You know, it's hard to do that when it's just me and Dan looking at water and sewer and stormwater and roads and paving and snow removal and, street lights and all these other things. So once we can get a little more revenue and processes like these regulations, then it makes it a little easier for us to come up with some sort of a program to be able to manage it.
Okay, thanks. But my other concern is, as we start seeing more and more housing being built and more land being turned from permeable into impermeable surface, I think this is going to be a larger issue. And I don't want to sneak up on us, but anyway, I appreciate taking a minute to answer my question. Thank you very much, Mark. Dan, you want to start going through we've already got you in on page 9 now. But why don't we, that's quite all right, Jonathan. I knew it was going to happen, but I let it go, Jonathan. Dan, why don't you go ahead and do what you'd like to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, we had an hour starting at 6:15. We've got about a half hour left. We got some things to do. So
yeah,
if you want to touch the tops of the waves, that's great. Go ahead.
Okay, so we got you can all see the stormwater regulations on my screen still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we can either kind of just run page by page, or I don't know if everyone had a chance to review and has specific questions. But I guess I'll kind of quickly go through for now. So basically the opening paragraph is the purpose, basically states why we have these regulations. And you can note the bottom paragraph speaks toward the EPA construction general permit, because that's a similar permit, but it doesn't exclude a contractor from having to meet the requirements of that permit. And that basically requires a SWIP when there's an acre of disturbance at a construction site. So that would probably overlap with this bylaw and requirements we have in these regulations. So,
and you said SWIP, meaning Stormwater Implementation Plan?
Oh, Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. So
thank you.
For the construction activities, they have to come up with a plan to prevent the pollution of the stormwater with erosion control, et cetera.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Diskin?
Dan, would you prefer if we had a question that we ask you, did we have a question at that time, or do you want to go through the whole thing? We'll go back to the questions at the end.
You can ask me.
If we get through page 1 and no one has a question, we're not going back to page 1 is what I'm getting at. We go to page 2 and no one, or would you prefer that you do the whole number of pages and then we go back to the pages that we have questions on? I guess I'm asking that true, Jeff.
Yeah, I'd say just ask away whenever you have while we're on the topic, we might as well.
I'm trying to get Julie to agree with this. How would you like to do it, Julie?
No, I'm good with Dan, but I'm saying what he's saying is dangerous. But ask away. I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'll watch
So-
the clock, gentlemen.
Can we do it
And
page by
ladies.
page, so we'll get through
Yes,
the page,
please.
and just go move on to the next page?
Page
Okay.
by page works for us this evening.
Okay, thank you.
So kind of, I was quickly going through the purpose. So authority and responsibility is section 2. And it's, refers to the stormwater bylaw for the reason why we have authority. So it speaks toward the subdivision zoning bylaws and, not intended to replace those. Here to be amendments. Terminology in these regulations, see section 3 of the stormwater bylaw. And then we identify the stormwater authority, which is actually identified in the bylaw, the planning board, and the stormwater agents. We propose the DPW to be delegated as the stormwater agent by the stormwater authority. So that allows us to carry out what's in this bylaw, what's in these regulations. So then we get into administration. So it indicates that the stormwater agent shall act as field inspector. Major projects, planning board shall be the stormwater management permit granting authority for major projects. And for minor projects, we identify the town planner in consultation with the stormwater agent, which is DPW, shall be designated as permit granting authority. And we get into more of the definition of major and minor further in the bylaw. Authority may approve with conditions or disapprove. Okay, move down to applicability. So we say refer to section 5 of the stormwater bylaw for applicability. And then I carried over the definitions exactly from section 5 of the stormwater bylaw, minor and major projects. And that's kind of what these comments are between Mark Archambault and myself here. So a minor project, land disturbance, it's an area greater than 40,000 square feet, but less than 60,000 square feet for a single family lot, which is not included in an A&R or subdivision within the prior 5 years. And kind of so on here. This is already in our bylaw. So I didn't want to, I think as part of the new bylaw, we'll look at, obviously adjusting some of these values here. 40,000 is quite a lot of land disturbance, and maybe lowering that value would be advantageous, especially with the smaller developments. We're seeing smaller lots. And then major projects. Any questions kind of on these? That's kind of what we already have in our bylaw. So
Right.
That's what we're basing everything off of for applicability. Procedures.
Mr.
So
Chair.
this just goes.
Yes, Dan, excuse me. Mr.
Yeah.
Diskin has a question. Yeah,
Oh,
Mr.
sure.
Ross.
Shouldn't we just say, if we get to the end of a page, let's say we agree on that page and to go to the next one or something like that? But I have a couple things on that page, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jonathan, I believe you have something on that page also.
I just wanted to, probably I'm underlining something that's already understood by everyone else, but the numbers that we see here for applicability for minor and major projects, we understand that when the bylaw comes under review, these numbers will probably change. Is that correct, Dan?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
But currently they match
Thank
the
you.
bylaw as it exists, which I took a look at,
Right.
and I'm sure other people did as well. But,
Exactly, yeah.
there's just a minor typo here in A, B, the minor project line B at the end. It should say related to a subdivision or an A&R, not comma A&R in the word or.
Okay,
And the same thing later on in the A of major projects, it's got a comma and an A&R, it should say or A&R. Land disturbance of 40,000 or more square feet for a subdivision or A&R, instead of just a comma.
Yeah.
okay, good catch. All right.
And you know what though, Dan, you may need both ors. Now another or, a semicolon or, because of the continued thought through the three sections A, B, and C.
Whoops. Yeah,
Right?
right here.
So it's right, yeah, right at the right behind ANR semicolon, and then you just need another or to continue the thought, so it goes to, there you go, that's it.
Leave the or in the other
Pardon
one
me.
as well, in the first one. There you go. Yep.
Yeah, so here and here. All right. Are there more comments on this page? Page 3.
No, I was on board with Mr. Kranz's comment about the numbers changing. 40,000 square feet to full acre. We do have a lot of properties in this town that are less than an acre that will be impactful based on where they are. So I'm wondering if that number needs to be brought in line with possibly some of the zoning requirements we currently have, the zoning dimensional requirements we have. I don't know the answer to that question, but that's a thought I might put out there.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to look at that
Okay.
review that.
Yeah, that's something that we can get some info from from our stormwater consortium on. I know, for instance, Sudbury, I think is 15,000 square feet.
I think it's 15 or smaller, believe it or not, Mark. I've seen it's 12.5, but exactly. It's just, 2006 or whenever this was written, acre lots were Pingree Hill. That's what we saw. But I think we've come forward a few decades since then. Thank you. Are we, any other questions on this page? Hearing none, let's move on.
Okay, page 4, procedures. An application and all required documents. So these are administrative procedures. So submitted to the town clerk and town planner, accompanied by appropriate fees. We get into fees a little later. And then the town planner reviews the scope of the project and forwards projects deemed to be minor to the agent, DPW, and those deemed to be major to the planning board, who is the authority.
Mm-hmm.
Minor and major projects are defined in section 5. That should be 4 above.
Hey, Dan, I always use major and minor projects as defined in the addendum. Move everything into the addendum so you change the page, but that's okay. If you start referring inside a document to other parts of the document, it can be a challenge. But you're too far down the road to do it any other way. But that's one of the changes we made to our zoning, is dimensional table at the appendix C, something like that. Go ahead.
So then we mentioned the stormwater management application can be submitted with a site plan review application, subdivision application, A&R application, or other application deemed appropriate by the authority. So kind of as we know, when we get some site plan reviews, some subdivision applications, there are stormwater, stormwater plans already in there. So this kind of can umbrella under those applications is basically what that paragraph is saying. When we get into applications and the package, and there's kind of a checklist here for the applicant to go through, and it basically, I don't know if we want to go through the whole thing, but when an item is, like for example, the first one, completed application form with all signatures, we need 1 copy to town planner, 1 to the clerk, and a PDF to the town planner. So we're looking to get copies of everything, especially plans, and also hard copies. Especially nowadays, we really need the electronic.
Excuse me for a moment. Does a PDF give you the information you need?
Yes, it does. We've been working on off of PDFs for looking at plans for a while. We can plot them here too.
Okay.
If we need to kind of look at them closer. So.
Thank you. I just don't have the I don't have the big guns you got there, so I'm forever asking for things plotted out for me. Okay. I'm assuming that the numbers in this table are correct. I hope Mark Archambault has taken a look at it and we've got enough copies coming in so people can get them.
Yeah, Mark reviewed this.
Thank you. Okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions about this page, page 4?
I'm good with it.
Thank you. Hearing none, let's go to page 5, please.
Okay, so kind of starts with determination of completeness. The town planners, well, that's still on page 4, but the town planner determines that. So moving on, page 5, information requests. Stormwater Authority may request additional info to determine whether the plan will protect water resources, et cetera, et cetera. Combined application. Stormwater Authority may allow this application to be submitted in combination with another, for example, site plan or subdivision, rather than standalone. So rather than having 2 separate applications and lots of different paperwork, just keep it all in one. Then we get into fees, application fees. We haven't, well, let's just go through it. A non-refundable application fee shall be submitted with the application. Fee schedules listed on the application and available at Town Hall. So I have the application. I submitted that for this meeting as well, and we haven't set the fees yet.
Okay.
But those will need to be set on the application. And then paragraph 2 here is just regarding revision of the fee schedules, and that the authority may review and revise those. And we get into
Question for Dan.
Yes.
Dan, in reference to your note about the fees, did you intend that to be ½ cent per square foot?
Oh, right here.
Or,
you can see it. So this was a comment Mark had. Yeah. Base fee and DPW $100 for a single family lot. Subdivision $100 or correct ½ cent per square foot. A commercial lot ½ cent per square foot. So that was, those were suggestions that
okay.
has made for the fees.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a typo where you meant 5 cents a square foot instead of ½ cent. I was just double checking.
No, that's all correct, and that's for
okay.
Engineering review. So that's not
Okay.
for application fee. So that's kind of, yeah, we're getting into that now. Engineering and consultant review fees. And Mark and I talked about it, and we think it would be a good idea to collect a fee, even if the DPW is reviewing these, because we spend a lot of time reviewing them. So that's kind of where he came up with these numbers in this year.
Yeah, especially if certain engineering firms are involved.
I got a question about fee.
I was going to ask, and excuse me for a second, that's 0.005 while we're talking about fees per square foot of the land area or the finished project square footage of living space?
I believe it's the lot size.
Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Please, Mr. Diskin.
If we're on that, I wasn't going to go to this, but now that you started on the fees, I'm not sure this works. To me, a better way to approach the fee would be based on a linear footage of construction. Let's say the linear footage of piping and the volume of the work, like the number of catch basins, things like that, size of the retention basins, rather than $100 a lot. And the reason I say that is because some of these things are going to have tiny lots, some of them are going to have huge lots, and a huge lot situation could have a lot of stormwater requirements, and a small situation with cluster zoning, call it, or what we call the open space residential development, could be smaller and have a disproportionate fee because the number of the linear footage of piping and work is marginal compared to something that's much bigger. So my recommendation is maybe that we can rethink this and look at it based on the amount of the volume of the work, or the length of the work, or the depth of the work, whatever you want to call it, for the project that involves that stormwater component, rather than just putting a number on the square footage of the land or the number on the lot. So just a suggestion.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for Dan for you.
Please.
Under B1 that you see there for minor projects, I think that sentence should add "or agent" after the word "the authority." So it could read, the authority or agent determines that engineering or consultant review fees are necessary. Since
Good
this is
call.
a project, otherwise I would have to keep harassing the planning board about, what do you think? Should we charge a fee for this?
Exactly.
So that's very minor, but that's something I caught later. Yep.
No, good catch.
Yep, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we were on major projects. We were looking at, so for minor projects, kind of go back, a consultant's fee may be required, and we just discussed by the authority or agent. And then major projects, we were talking about the fee here. Mark had a suggestion and Ken had a suggestion as to how we can do that. I don't know, I didn't really look at what other towns are doing either. I could kind of maybe see if they're, what their fee structure is for that.
Yeah, I think, we don't want to get hung up, I don't think, on fees tonight.
Yep.
Because we could spend
Amen.
spend a lot of time doing it. And there is, I've worked up fees for inspection of water, sewer, and drainage when they're doing the construction. And there is a rationale behind it, where you look at, what do you have to look at? And one of the things I did on that for the stormwater for the actual inspection was if it's a subdivision, I have it per linear foot of road.
Mhm.
But you take a project like 215 West Main Street with the storage units, and there's no linear road in there, but there's a lot of stormwater management that requires inspection. So we did that based on, I want to say it's a square foot or 100 square feet per 100 square feet of impervious area. So there's different ways we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and as I think about this, I don't think there's a perfect answer for everything. And actually, I was over at that storage area today, looking at it, thinking about this. Believe it or not, that's why I saw you, Mark.
The engineering fees, we're basically just trying to say we have a level of effort to do this. So,
Yep.
The town employees' time is of value, and that's what we want to do this based on. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, but right now it's free.
Yeah. Excuse me, Dan, before you continue, I'm going to actually ask a question because I am watching the clock very carefully. I can't see if Cindy's there. Cindy, if you can hear me, can you join us for a moment?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I don't mean to do that to you.
Oh, no problem.
What is our time frame again? Is it 7:15?
Yes.
Okay.
But if
So
you
I
need
have
2 more minutes, don't worry about it.
Well, I'm just gonna take a stop right now and kind of check the temperature in the room, if you don't mind. We've got a couple of some minutes to take care of. And Mark Archambault, what do you have in the way of announcements and an update? Do you have anything, or can it be handled by an email?
That could be done right now. I do have a few things to, appraise the board about, but they're not tied to any permitting or, timelines.
Okay, if you could do that as an email, that would be fantastic.
Yes.
I just want to give Dan, I just want to give you as much time as I can, okay?
Yeah.
The minutes, I would like to, so Dan, I'm going to give you about 10 more minutes or so.
Okay.
About 7:13, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And I may ask the board members to jot down your questions per page and per item, and maybe we submit them to Dan, if that will work.
Okay.
Please, thank you. So Dan, why don't you, because we've got excuse me, 9 more pages to go, and Dan, go for it, Dan.
All right, I'll try to be quick.
Yep.
So next bullet C, stormwater maintenance surety. We propose here to put a stormwater maintenance bond may be required to ensure O&M of the stormwater system.
Mm-hmm.
The fee would be based on a cost estimate providing the value of 5 years of O&M of the stormwater system. I think this was a comment Mark Wetzel had, but it's, as we've been working on projects in the past, it's good to have this requirement to make sure that people are taking care of these systems, because most often they get neglected. And if there is this kind of is that hammer over their head. All right, next up, public meetings, hearings, decisions. How deep do we want to go into this? Let's look at public hearings for major projects. An advertised public hearing shall be scheduled by the planning board and may be held concurrently. So Mark has a comment here, Mark Wetzel, about having a butter notification, and we do require it for major projects within 300 feet of the project. But that's something the members can kind of look at and we can talk about later. But we don't have one a butter notification listed for minor projects. Decisions. So kind of Mark had a Mark Wetzel had a comment on the time frame, 30 days, or how many days should we have for a decision to be made. So that's something we can talk about again later. And then get into appeals, recording of major projects to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds, decisions of major projects. And then we get into the stormwater plan, management, erosion, and sedimentation control plan. So in here, it's broken up into bullet A is for all projects. So these are requirements for all projects. Plan shall be. So we talk about meeting the most recent Massachusetts stormwater management policy. That's the stormwater handbook, which, like I said, is currently under review to meet the newest MS4 permit as well. But that's what we like to point to for meeting stormwater standards. And we did also put in here, stormwater plan shall also meet the standards of the most recent MS4 permit for which the authority is covered, notably in section 2.3.682. So I guess I did touch on the new permit and requirements in there, which I talked about in the presentation earlier, which was an increased TSS, 90% removal, things such as that. So that is included now in here in our regulations. Minor projects, requirements for those. So this is kind of just basic. Drawings or plans, a narrative containing the following information. So we allow, this may be hand drawn, because this could just be, like a resident who's doing something at their house. Location of natural features, pre-post development impervious, components of the proposed, so description of all the components of the proposed stormwater management system, including the BMPs, which must be designed to the maximum extent practicable. Okay, in major projects, the stormwater management plan needs to have reports, calculations, and they must be stamped by a PE. But this is much more descriptive here. I won't go too into it. I won't go in through every bullet here. The proposed land use.
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
Excuse me, I did have one note on page 8. It would be bullet F under major. Pursuant to 310 CMR 15.017, what if the changes or if they amend it?
An estimate made by a license.
An estimate made by a licensed soil evaluator pursuant to 310 Commonwealth of Massachusetts Regulations 15.017 of seasonal high groundwater elevation. Has that ever changed?
I'm not sure. I don't believe so.
That's fine. Again, where we refer to a very specific law that we can't control. So
you can you could put a somewhere in the definitions or put a clause that would be the say most recent revision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Please. I can see it. I have a face in my head of a landowner here in town coming to us and saying, but I'm in compliance with something that was 10 years old. Sorry to slow you down, but.
Well, and one of the benefits of doing it as a regulation as opposed to a bylaw is that you can modify a regulation relatively easily compared to going to town meeting and voting
Exactly.
for a bylaw, as you've found with the zoning.
Exactly. And that's why I think we removed a lot of the, that's why, like I said, we've moved things into appendices as much as possible to make it easy so we don't end up in a situation with like the last bylaw. Page 5 said one thing, page 8 said something totally different. And I got engineers sitting in the room saying, which one do you want to do this time? You know? So it makes it easier on everybody. But go ahead, Dan, please.
Okay.
And I have permission to go a little extra, so I'm going to give you a little more leeway, okay?
Yeah, I moved down to page 9.
Yeah.
So it's still talking about the requirements for the major project stormwater plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to skip down to the next section, 10, operation and maintenance plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be post-construction, what needs to be done, who's doing it, et cetera. So that's what we get into for all projects.
And you have comments here from
Oh, whoops, yeah.
you have Mark, and you have comments. If you guys need someone to break a tie, I'd like to see an O&M plan with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we're doing. I think Mark.
I'm just going to put that out there. You guys can, doesn't have to be fantastic. It just needs to be, we'll clean out the inverts every 5 years. We'll clean out the culverts every year. We will cut the grass twice a year.
Correct. So,
We will make sure we only put in the proper wood chips. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So yeah, all projects do require, description of maintenance. And
okay, thanks.
So it is covered for all.
Mm-hmm.
We touched on the stormwater management easement. Changes to O&M plans. We touch upon that and what the requirements are for that. And then annual report submittal. So this is something, it would be great if it's hard for us to follow what everyone's doing, but if we can ask for a report to say, hey, have you been doing your stormwater work, and send us your annual report, and then, that's basically what this section is for, to require that. Do you want me to keep going? I think.
Well,
Keep going.
yeah.
So section 11, project changes. So that touches upon that, if there's any modifications, during construction, et cetera. Section 12, inspections and site supervision. So this touches upon inspections conducted by the agent, which is DPW. Allows us access, a pre-con meeting. So this is for all projects. You see Mark Archibald's comment here.
Yes.
So I added a note. For all projects, there'll be a pre-con of some kind. If it's a very small project, we can just meet them on the site and go over things. But especially for the large projects, we have a very formal pre-con, such as a sub. And then authority inspections. It kind of describes when we can come out there, what they need to have on site here. They need their EPA NIPD's construction general permit, a copy of our permit. And then, we get down into permitting inspections. So that's conducted by the permittee. So we tell them how often they have to do it, and it's, control measures need to be checked no less than weekly, and et cetera, when they do it. So, and also for major projects, there's additional requirements, monthly inspection reports attached to a stormwater management monthly construction inspection checklist form, which I guess I could go over that at a later date, but I did submit that originally. Final inspections and
Can I ask a question
Yeah, I
quickly?
got one too coming up.
Please do, Mr. Prince.
And if you look at section 12, subsection F, certificate of completion,
Oh,
number 1 on page 12.
Yeah, right here.
Yep.
There you go. Thank you. It says the agent shall inspect the system to confirm its as-built features and evaluate the effectiveness of the system in an actual storm. You're not actually going to stand out there during a storm to evaluate its effectiveness. You're evaluating the anticipated storm. You're evaluating, does this look like it's capable of meeting the demands of a storm? Are we sure the language is correct? Are we happy with the language, or am I just being ridiculous? I mean, I just want to be sure we got it right.
Dan, yeah, go ahead. Dan.
Yeah, no, it was set, to see it functioning properly while it's raining is kind of what we're getting at. We don't.
Oh, okay.
You do have several rain gardens, things like that, which can have blowouts. You want to make sure it can handle, storms effectively, especially nowadays since we're getting much larger storms.
And if I may, from a practical standpoint, I've been the guy standing in the rain.
Yeah, it's easy.
Okay, so that really means that someone's actually going to go out there and see that it really works in a storm. Okay, that's
And you hope for big
at.
rainstorms that happen real fast when you're free. Absolutely.
Right.
Not overnight in the cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Diskin has a point.
I'm gonna back. Jonathan got ahead of me by a couple of paragraphs there.
Okay.
Could I go to final inspection and reports under major project there? So it says, after the system has been constructed, the applicant shall submit a report to the authority, including, this may be a little bit too specific, it says including certified as-built plans. So I wanted to clarify that a little bit by saying what that certification meant, which would say, in my case, it would be an as-built plan stamped and certified by a professional engineer. Not just say certified, because who's good, I don't know who's going to certify it if it's not, it may just not be, you guys know what it means, but should we just spell it out? So we know the as-built plan is stamped and certified by a professional engineer.
That's right. Yeah, we got to add PE in there. Yep.
Dan got that. We're running out of time, gentlemen. I hate to say. Ken, do you have more?
Yeah, I got the most important thing right now, actually.
Yep, go ahead.
It says major projects, the last sentence, as-built plans shall be submitted no later than 2 years after completion of the approved modifications. That's like way too long, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd say like maybe 2 months.
I'm gonna, unfortunately, I was on a project in Westford and we couldn't get the storms we needed to make sure the projects worked. The infrastructure worked until almost 2.5 years after construction. But I think 2 years is a long time also. I don't know what the industry standard is. I would refer to that.
Yeah. Well, we'd probably want to, at least have one season of storms.
We're just talking about the plan. We're not talking about whether it works or not.
Right.
We're talking about the as-built plan itself.
I would say 6 months.
That's a lot, but that's fine. It's better than 2 years.
6 months was a suggestion from Mr. Wetzel.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Dan. Do you have Ken or Jonathan or anybody else on the board? Julie, do you have any questions on the next
I
page
got a
or two
couple
on
more
this?
if you want to do it, just get it done.
I do want to get it done, Ken. Let's please go.
Move down to the bottom of the page under number 4, where it's the authority. This is the mark, Ashimbo picked it up before, should say or agent, under perpetual inspections and maintenance. Number 4, sorry, the next one.
On page 13.
Yeah,
Yes.
13, yeah.
We're on the last page. Go ahead. Yep.
Where it says number 4, where is it?
Right here.
Wrong one, a little further down, I think. Maintenance, perpetual
go.
inspections and maintenance, it's 13, sorry, 13.
Right here, and then A4.
Yes, A4
But it's number 13,
on page, no. On
heading
page-
13, all projects.
Yeah.
Roman numeral 13, A4.
Yeah, so 4 must be coming up. Okay, there it is. The authority or agent, I think it should say, instead of just the authority.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you.
And the very last thing I have is number 5, right below it.
Mhm.
So this refers back to section 7, which we went through quickly, but it says, in the case where the town of it takes ownership of the project from the owner, a maintenance fee will, I think the word may should be changed to will be required.
I agree.
I hate the word may in a situation like this. And then
Yeah.
you'd have to go back to 7 because it's not really defined. I think you need to add a second paragraph in 7 where you talk about it that clarifies that if the town takes it. So the way it's written now, it doesn't say if the town takes it at all on that section. That would be 7 fees C.
Okay.
You have to
Thank
go
you.
back to 7 under fees, and it would be item C.
So we'd have to revise that. You want me to look at it now or?
And you
I'm gonna
just
go ahead,
revise
Ken.
it so that you those two match up, so that it says if the town takes it, this
Yeah.
would be required, and so forth. That's it for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin. Mr. Krantz, do you have anything left?
No, I don't, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I had one thing that was a general thought that occurred to me that I will bring up. We may be asked to do a stormwater project for a nonprofit in town if they choose to do a parking lot or something like that. And should we entertain language that a fee would be waived, or just leave it out and let them come to us with an ask? I'll just put that on the table.
No.
Okay. Dan, do you feel like you've had the time? I'm sorry to have to rush you, but
No, yeah, I think we got through it all.
Yeah.
It'd be good to, now get your input and we can share it from there.
may I ask a favor, Dan? Okay.
Yeah.
If and when you get this incorporate the thoughts that you've heard from the board this evening, if you could forward a copy along to us, that'd be great. I know I will be looking at this with that copy in mind, and I'll respond as needed. Hopefully other board members will do the same thing. And I want to say something now that I hope I speak on behalf of the board, but one of the things that I thought of, and I'm going to find my notes.
Nice work.
Yeah, thank you for all the hard work on this one. Had to check my notes for that, but basically that's what it comes down to. Okay. No, I write myself notes, guys. Come on. But thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate all that you do for the town. All right. That you do for the planning board along the way. And I'm sorry you're gonna get skunked for time right now, but I got to get a couple of I gotta get some minutes approved because we're behind on that right now. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, everyone.
Julie, do you have a question?
Okay.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, but that's I think you understood that. I understood. Thank you. Okay.
We need a motion to continue the hearing if you're not going to close it.
Please.
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded to continue the public hearing for stormwater regulations. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay. Town planner update. Mark's going to do that by email. Administrative announcements, old and new business. I'm going to jump in right now and to ask you all to take a look in your email. There is a list of projects we submitted to Mark. Mark and Heather went through them today and gave an update. I went as far back as January 1st, 2017. It's a pretty good list. I didn't put everything in because it's duplicates, but I'd ask you all to take a look through that. If you have any comments, forward them on to Mark and Heather and copy me on them. But what I'd like to do is it's a task. It's just a task list. Where are we on the stuff we've done over the years? So it doesn't get left behind. Something Mr. Diskin's been asking for a while. Anybody else have any old and new business they'd like to discuss? Hearing none. We have the minutes for July 14th. And Heather, you sent out the latest copy this afternoon, correct?
I sure did.
Thank you very much. There's nothing after the one you sent this afternoon?
No, there's not.
Okay, I want to say thank you to Mr. Diskin and Mr. Krantz. Of course, Mr. Krantz, you're killing it. Thank you very much with what you've been doing with the minutes. A motion to accept the minutes, please.
Moved. So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion on approving the minutes from the July 14th, 2020 meeting? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Hearing none. As a logistical thing, I will sign the final sheet and drop it off for you, Heather.
Yeah, I'll get you the approved set an email tomorrow morning.
Just email it to me and I'll sign I'll sign the final sheet and drop it off at the town hall. I want to thank you all for being so good about keeping us as close to on time as possible. Anything else from anybody? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Have a wonderful time, guys. We'll see you in a couple
Adios.
weeks. Thank you.